We're going to look at a word problem now. John plans to purchase a cell phone and has two options available to him. One would be Rogers, and Rogers charges $75 a month, plus an upfront device cost of $300. Freedom, which is a $55 per month, plus an upfront device cost of $700. How many months must John own the phone so the Rogers is cheaper option than Freedom? So wait a second, let's just read that again. Rogers, how many months? That's a good question. How many months must John own the phone so Rogers is cheaper than Freedom? So what we're looking for is Rogers is cheaper than Freedom. That's a great question. So if Rogers is cheaper than Freedom, and we just take a look at this, so Rogers cheaper than Freedom. Now notice how the word cheaper implied less than. If we take a look at our question, Rogers is $75 a month. It's more per month, but it has a cheaper upfront cost. So to buy it initially, it's cheaper, but it costs you more per month. Whereas Freedom costs you more for the upfront device, but per month it's less. All right, let's see this. So we need to introduce a variable, an unknown. What is our unknown here? I'm going to say let M represent the months, the time in months. That's what M is going to represent here. So if I were to create an expression for Rogers, it would be $75 times the number of months I have, plus we have an additional cost or an upfront cost of $300. So this is our good friends at Rogers who offer this deal. Now Freedom, when is this less than Freedom? And Freedom is $5 per month, and then an upfront cost of $700 for a device. Now keep in mind that $55 per month times the number of months will give me my cost for my monthly installments. As I work my way through here, this is an inequality. And what I notice is I need to try to isolate my variables to one side. And I'm going to start off with doing the inverse of 55m. So I'm just going to leave a space there, and I know that I'm going to do. So how do I get rid of 55m on the right hand side? Well, I have to subtract 55m to both sides. What is left on the left hand side is 20m. 20m plus 300 is less than, if I simplify this, $700. Now, if I notice, my variable m is still not isolated, so I take a look at my 300. I'm going to isolate 300, I'm going to get rid of 300 as I slowly try to isolate my variable m. And I do that by subtracting 300 to both sides. So I end up with 20m is less than 700, that's 20m, 700 minus 30, which is 400. If I divide both sides by 20, so 20m divided by 20, so I'm just going to say divide by 20 here, I'm left with m is less than 400 divided by 20. So here what I have is less than 20. So I solved the inequalities. When is Rogers cheaper than Freedom? Provided that the months are less than 20. So here's my number line. So basically Now, this is a real-life scenario in which you have two competing phone interests. They offer different plans that are remarkably similar, and you need to decipher which one's better. So Rogers is actually cheaper when M is less than 20. So I'm just going to graph this. Now, that's kind of a bad graph. Maybe I'm going to use the highlighter. But I'm going to say that M, the lowest M can be, is 0. You can't have negative months when you're owning a phone. So anywhere where I'm highlighting represents the solution. So that's what it meant by graphing the solution. You may want to call this the M-axis, or the graph, or the months axis. And that's how we do it. Now, in real life, how do you pay the least amount for a phone? That's a fabulous question. I don't know. It's very, very, very mathematical, and you have to take on risk and perhaps try to get a free phone from somebody